Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to make this video on the real truth or the honest truth about prop firms and the prop firm industry. I feel like this is a video that I should have made quite a bit ago because this is something I've been thinking about quite a lot recently, and just thinking about whether or not it makes a lot of sense to trade with prop firms, or should you just save up enough money and trade your own personal account. And I just want to take a really deep look into whether or not prop firms are even worth it in general. So I just want to quickly start. So, what is a prop firm? I'm sure a lot of you guys already know what a prop firm is. At least if you're watching this video, you probably have used a prop firm before, or you have some idea of what they are and what they do. But in a sense, a prop firm is like an online, trading company that, offers you money to trade with, if you can pass a certain challenge or combine or whatever. So they give you a certain amount of money. Well, it's mostly demo accounts, by the way, so that's an important point to take into consideration. So they give you like a demo account, and they'll say give you a $50,000 account and say, can you make 3 grand on this 50K account? But then there's also certain rules and drawdown requirements that comes with that. So why you might not want to consider trading with a prop firm, in my opinion, there's just there's certain things you have to think about when it comes to trading with the prop firms. There's certain rules that applies. Some prop firms can put certain rules that goes directly against the way you personally trade. And if you're not too careful when it comes to these prop firms, you could easily find yourself even disrespecting your own rules because you don't want to hit a certain drawdown limit, you don't want to break a certain rule that they might have put in place. And I've seen this happen so many times where a prop firm would put a certain rule. For example, with a prop firm Apex, which I'm actually trading with at the minute. I don't think they're necessarily a horrible company, but there's certain things that I don't like. They have this consistency rule thing where they're like, oh, you can't, you know, no, it's not Apex. Sorry, that's Top Step. Where they're like, you can't make more than a certain amount in a day. And I was like, that's almost like forcing a trader to make less money than they normally would. And my argument was, you should never force a trader to, close out a profitable trade just because you don't want them to make too much money, if that makes sense. But yeah, anyways, so that's that. So you know, you have to consider the fact that certain types of prop firms could essentially force you to trade differently. To not hit drawdown rules, to not hit certain targets. It's all that. Anyways, a lot of prop firms, they sell you the dream, and in most cases it's not really, the reality is just far from it. You could see $100,000 account, a $200,000 account, a $500,000 account, and you're thinking, yeah, 200,000, 300,000. If I could just pass this challenge, I'll be set for life, and I'll have this money to trade and finally, be able to take care of my bills, or to go on that holiday that I always want to go, or even to buy that supercar. But in most cases, you quickly find yourself, attempting and spending and spending and spending more money over time, and you're like, why? I was profitable in my personal account before, but now as soon as I'm on this prop firm, it's like I can't do anything right. I can't get anything right. And I think this is a really important thing that we need to look into. We need to look into the psychology of prop firms, and what it's doing to you, and why it might actually be ruining your trading and your overall long-term success. Um, so the real truth with a lot of prop firms is they're just not looking for profitable traders. I know they say on their website, they're trying to find profitable traders. They're trying to find people to stay with them long term. But the truth is that goes against their business model. It really does. Um, Against with a T. It goes against their business model. They make money from the challenges and the combine resets that you pay for. So every time you buy a new challenge, you spend a $500, $400,000 account. That's where they make their money. They don't have a massive pool of money set aside to give you to trade with. They're giving you demo accounts, which aren't real money anyways, and they're hoping that you fail these challenges and that you keep buying more challenges essentially. So a profitable trader is actually who's withdrawing money is actually losing the prop firm money because then they have to pay that trader, and for them that's kind of a liability. So that's where all they make these rules and rules and rules to mess you up essentially. And also, I want to touch later on, I think I made a point of is it better to trade with, say, futures prop firm than forex prop firm? Because with futures prop firm, they tend to have little to almost no rules at all, except for the consistency rule with top step. But other than that, they tend to have less rules. So I want to touch on later on into this video if if it's better to trade with a futures prop firm, or is it still just just fluff more or less. But anyways, I'll get to that. Um, so the targeted amount of risk they're giving you, it creates a gambling mentality, and what I mean by that is if they're giving you a 500,000, say $50,000 account, and they have a daily risk on that account of 1,000, but you have to make 2.5 grand. It Because you think you have a $50,000 account, you're not thinking that it's not truly a $50,000 account that you have. You do not have $50,000 to risk, and I feel like that traps so many people into the wrong mentality of thinking, they see the big number and they think, oh, you have a $50,000 account, but in actuality, you only have $1,000 account, and you need to make 2.5 grand with that. So that's almost trying to make 3x almost on a with a 1x risk. So you have $1,000 risk, and you almost need to make almost 3 grand. And that's not something that's very easy to do, because if you think about trading and you think about how trading works, in most cases, especially if you don't have excellent risk management, more time than not, you're gonna lose a lot more money, at least in the start of your trading, than you can ever make. Even if you have a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio, you're losing, more times than you're actually winning. If you have a 2-to-1 risk reward, or even a 1-to-1, you're losing way more money than, well, let me try to explain that a little bit better. So, for example, if you have a 2-to-1, you're more likely going to lose, say, 60% of the time. If you have a 3-to-1, you might lose 70% of the time. If you have a 4-to-1, you might lose even 75 or 80% of the time. So more time than not, your drawdown could be quite high, and it's not very hard to hit that $1,000 daily risk on that account when you have to consider risk reward. If you had that space to trade, if you had that $50,000 worth of space to trade, you can make way more rational decisions. And that's one of the things where I was always saying to people that use the smallest possible lot size that you can. I know it could end up wasting you more time, but I'll get to that point when it comes to wasting time. But to me, it's better to waste time trying to learn and see than actually wasting money. So yeah, you end up in this endless loop of wasting time. And by that I mean, if you use really small lot sizes in order to reach these targets, which is if you're using you're using micro lots to reach 2.5 grand, it could take a long, long time, but it does give you more mental clarity. You do make smarter decisions. You do gain slowly, but it will take a lot of time. And the thing is, when it comes to trading with prop firms in the first place, you're not trying to trade with prop firm to waste time. You're trying to actually make some money. You're not sitting there thinking about how can I make 1% a month or 1% every 4 or 5 months. So the other option is to waste money by taking unreasonable risk, risking it all on one trade and hoping that it works out, which 99% of the time is not going to work out, and you're just going to have to keep spending more money. So you end up in these endless cycles of buying a new challenger, risking it, losing it, repeating it, resetting, and continuing on and on. And you can easily find yourself, spending thousands and not making a single dime from these prop firms. And you have to think about that. All of that money that you wasted, you could have probably put it in your own personal account, and who knows, maybe you would have lost it as well. But who knows? Maybe you would have made more sensible decisions. Um, so yeah, the next point is issues with uh, reliability and lack of regulations, and the fact that this prop firm industry is relatively new. There's not that much regulations. The what's I think is the FC in the UK, and the Canadian one that shut down my forex funds, which which I'll get to. But there's not that much regulations yet, and there's so much issues with certain new prop firms coming into the industry. They're not that reliable. They come in, they just want to make as much money and run off into the sunset and never paying people. And I've seen that happen so many times. Even recently with my forex fund getting shut down, that was such a sad situation for so many traders, because I know what it's like. I used to trade with my forex funds as well. Um, and obviously I luckily I stopped because I caught on to what they were doing. I caught on to the manipulation that they were playing. They were messing with your stop losses and giving you a negative slippage all the time. They were widening spreads at random times. They were locking people out of trades. They were doing all sort of shady stuff, and I caught on to that, and I complained about them so much, so often. But people weren't even believing me. So there's that. Um, I've seen prop firms not paying people for stupid reasons, saying, "Oh, you traded doing news, and we have this news thing here that we didn't enforce, but you made too much money, so now we're gonna pay you." Um, it's a lot, and you have to be careful with certain prop firms, because this industry is unregulated, so they could easily run off with your money, and there's nothing you can do. Right. So, is it better to trade with a futures prop firm than a forex prop firm? Um, in certain situations, I was gonna say yes. For me, I feel like it's better to trade with a futures prop firm, but you also have to consider certain things. There's way less rules in futures. There's way less manipulation and stuff like that. It's a regulated industry, um, but there is certain issues that come with futures prop firm, and it's something that I need to get to. With futures, whilst there's less rules, there is also the fact that futures is a highly um, leveraged like tool. It's highly leveraged, and what does that mean is that the a single contract on a futures profit, if you only have £1,000 risk, and in most cases that is the case, you know, if you buy a $50,000 account, you will only have $1,000 to $2,000 worth of risk. Um, and a single contract on a futures prop firm on the ES or the NQ could lose you 100, 200 quid on a single move. And I'm not talking about a significant move. I'm talking about, a couple points move up or down. So with futures, as much as there's less rules, it's very easy to lose a lot of money. It's quite easy to gain a lot of money as well, but it's very, very, very easy. It's much more easy to lose way more money, because it's very hard to predict the market. Unless you're a sniper trader, you're more likely than not going to predict the market correctly most of the time. Um, so to be losing that much money so quickly, it could be very detrimental to your trading psychology and stuff like that. And I feel like with futures, you just need a lot of capital to trade it, unless you're trading the micros, which is what I recommend. But then again, there's also the issue of commissions with that comes with that as well. So is it better than trading forex? Yes, for some people, maybe not in all cases. Okay, so why you might want to consider trading your own money. You know, when you trade your own money, you take you're much more serious. You're much more sensible about the risk that you're taking. This is your actual money. You might not overtrade or put too much size. If you can make a decent amount, a small amount, you don't need hundreds and thousands to begin with. What you need is to slowly build your pot over time and gain more capital so that you can take larger risk with time. And that is something I feel like I should have learned a long time ago. I feel like I should have, think about the idea of starting small and building and building and building instead of trying to, buy that Lambo or, go on that holiday. Um, so yeah, it helps to remove the gambling mentality, at least hopefully if you're not trying to over risk or whatever. But you can set your own targets. You don't have to think about, oh, I need to make 3 grand and I only have like 500 quid to risk. It's not like that. Um, you get paid whenever you want, and you learn the true value of your own money, and you're not just thinking this is $100,000 account. I have loads of risk. Let me just throw it on one trade and go. So yeah. But anyways, that is it for today's video. The honest truth of the prop firm industry. Um, Obviously, there might be some things that I've missed. If you guys, have any, you can leave them down in the comments below, and let me know what you guys think. Personally, this is just my opinion. Um, I'm not a financial advisor. You guys can do whatever you want with your money. Um, so yeah, just take this as educational. This is just what I've learned throughout the years of trading. And yeah, but anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them down below, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.